Okay, so today we want to talk about the impact of moving abroad with children, which is probably the only reason we can think of for not going at all. Find out in the end of the video what we think is the best thing to do. Seriously, we have always been excited by the idea of moving abroad as a family, but since we have been looking up more information about moving, I find it difficult to be 100% happy about it. At least that's the case for me.
Yes, and I totally agree with you. I even wonder if we should just quit the whole idea of living abroad and instead focus on being able to go on many holidays abroad instead, right?
Yes.
Because what will be the impact, for our 7-year-old son? He will be 9 years old when we leave. Will this dream be worth it? Maybe he struggles once we have moved. And what about the impact of this, in his later life?
Yeah, we can see he's happy here. He is enjoying school and has his group of close friends. And now he's also starting with hobbies and creating his own plans on what he wants to do when he is older. Before we dive into this dilemma, whether or not it is wise to move abroad with children, if you have seen one of our videos before, we want to thank you for returning to watch more. And if you are here for the first time, welcome to our channel.
We are Matt and
Monico.
And we share all kinds of information on moving and living abroad. The information is based on our own experience of living abroad, but we are also learning for our next move, hopefully in 2 years' time.
So, will we go in 2 years with our then 9-year-old son? Initially, we were really excited when we made the decision to move and live abroad. But when we were doing research on all the preparations that needed to be done, I have to admit that the excitement of moving started to fade slightly.
That's right.
When I was young, I remember that I didn't mind moving abroad every 2 or 3 years. But then again, I didn't know better. But our son has lived in the Netherlands his entire life.
Yeah. And when you're moving abroad in your 20s or alone, it's all up to you, You can decide everything on the spot and see where opportunities take you. This move is going to be totally different compared to the one Monico and I have done so many times. This time we're going to move with our 7-year-old son and our 2-year-old cat. There seems to be more at stake now when moving abroad with family, and the sense of responsibility is pretty heavy, I have to say, right?
Yeah, moving abroad alone is totally different than moving abroad with children. You are now responsible for somebody, and you are the one who plays a big part in how he or she experiences the move abroad.
Yeah, that's right. So we have decided to figure out what others think and what they advise based on their own experiences.
As a result, we kind of got a system overload. Maybe you have already experienced this as a parent. At least this always happens with us when we look up information about children and parenting.
Yeah.
After reading so much on a specific topic, you start to focus on all kinds of problems that are not even there yet. Or even worse, you reflect someone else's experience of a specific problem on yourself and your child.
Yeah.
You see all these doom scenarios and you think that your child is going to experience them too. But in the end, nothing happens. And when you look back on that period of time, you wonder why you were freaking out about it in the first place.
The first and biggest thing that we have learned as a parent is that children just don't come with step-by-step instructions. It would make life so much easier though. And this is also the case with moving abroad. Every child will react differently. You can get all the information and advice you want, but in the end your child is unique and you have to kind of go with the flow as well. There are so many factors in place that you just can't say what is going to happen. Of course, knowledge is power. So you can always apply things you learn along the way once the situation appears. So, instead of focusing on the problems that can happen, but again likely not, we are going to search for solutions.
So, we have decided to divide this topic into 2 videos. In this video, we're going to talk about children of certain ages and how in general they handle the idea of moving to a different country. And in the next video, we will list preparation ideas that will help you make the move with children a very positive one.
Yes, luckily there have been many families who have moved abroad before us, and as mentioned, We are able to find a lot of information, and we've also connected with expert families, right? To be honest, most of them were families with young kids, which is a great age to move abroad. We found out that 4-year-olds or younger do not show any emotional issues when moving abroad. Babies and toddlers are too young to understand anyway, and they take things as they are without questioning.
All you need to do is continue caring for them as you have always done. Stick to the same routine, such as with feeding and sleeping. So the main goal for you as a parent is to stick to your routine.
Yeah, that's right. We then found out that from 4 to 6-year-olds, it's pretty easy to move abroad as well. At this age, children adjust very easily. Friendships are easily created in simple play sessions, and they are very likely to forget their old life once they have created these new friendships. At this age, it is also easier for them to learn another language, as long as it's fun and playful, right?
Yep. And they will probably have a trillion questions along the way. And you know how kids are this age. They can ask questions on and on. So be prepared. You need to be patient and reassure them that the move is going to be fun. An important tip that we found that we will fully apply is to avoid talking negatively about the move or show that you are worried in front of your kids. They will pick up everything. And if you start showing doubt, they will copy that straight away.
Yeah. So, for this age, you need to reassure them and make the move as fun as possible. With older kids between 9 and 12, things can get more complicated, you know. Apparently, around 9 years old and above, friendships start to get a different dimension. It's not just play anymore, but pretty tight friendships can be created at this age already. Kids between 9 and 12 years old can form an opinion already, and they are likely not to accept things that easily anymore, especially when it comes to change.
We discovered that you have to include them in the decision making so they feel that they still have some control in the move abroad. However, the most important thing is to talk a lot.
Yeah.
Show understanding and patience. They must know that you are always there when they feel sad or lost about the idea of moving.
Yeah. So for this age, it is important that you show support whenever they feel sad and include him or her in the decision making, right? So how about if you have kids from 12 to 16-year-old, Monica?
Well, this is one of the toughest ages to move abroad, and children this age are good at pushing the boundaries. They might even start to resent you from taking them away from everything they know and love.
Yeah.
They have difficulty finding anything positive about moving abroad. So as a parent, it is important to stay positive and point out all the good things that is going to come with moving abroad. And basically, it is your job to get them excited for the move. A tough thing to do, especially since moving is in general a stressful thing to do.
Yeah. Again, it is important to create possibilities for them to stay connected with friends and family. They must find connections with their peer group. Because, as you might still remember when you were this age, everything your parents said and did were just stupid things. So, the focus here is to create excitement for the move and accept a moody child. The child must know that he or she can return to you for love, support and understanding, even if it seems like they don't want anything to do with you.
For children, or as they consider themselves young adults, who are 16 to 18 years old, we learned that they see themselves as adults. So that is how you should treat them. They have passed the age where they have undergone physical and hormonal changes and are therefore somewhat more balanced. At this age, you can discuss things about the move. Children this age generally find it interesting to move as they are already able to see new opportunities and that it will be a positive adventure. Therefore, we read that these young adults will settle more quicker in their new country compared to preteens.
Yeah. As long as you talk positively, show new possibilities, introduce them to their new school, and most importantly, include them in the entire process, you know. So for this age group, make sure you treat them as young adults, like Monica said, and show the possibilities they will have once they live in their new country.
So the role of the parent when moving abroad with children is to provide support. Children need to know that wherever their new home is, their parents are the place where he or she can be fully themselves, no matter where they are living. They must know that they are loved, supported, understood, accepted, and that their parents provide them stability and structure.
Yeah. The family is the place where the child can express his or her losses and fears when it comes to moving abroad. We will list ideas on how to do this in the upcoming video. As mentioned before, this information we have just given you cannot be generalized. Every child isn't the same. Personality and past experiences also play a major role.
It is known that children thrive when they live abroad as they learn to deal with new situations, are able to adjust easily, have no trouble meeting new people, are resilient, and are less fearful of the new. And they tend to make choices out of the box. However, usually these children are those who already possess the ability to create friendships easily and keep in touch with old friends.
Yeah. And if your child isn't like that, we found out that he or she will have difficulty adjusting to the move abroad. Also, those with learning needs, whether they have a learning disability or are highly gifted, also tend to struggle when moving abroad. And children with emotional or behavioral issues also do not cope. But of course, as a parent, you've already expected this.
As you can tell, there's so much to say about this topic. So that is why we have decided to share the information we have learned in 2 videos.
Yeah.
We hope you found this video useful and that it has given you a bit of a guideline on what to expect and how to handle when moving abroad with your children.
Yeah, and like we said, it is general information, but perhaps it has given you some sense of idea of what can happen. And we hope that it has given you a positive feeling so you can continue planning your move abroad. For us, it has given us a bit of reassurance of the impact of moving abroad with our kid. We have an idea of how he is going to experience it and what is needed to make the move a positive one.
Definitely. If you want to be updated when we have uploaded the next part of this video, make sure you press the notification button. If you want to share your own worries on moving abroad with your children, or you have already experienced moving abroad as a family, please leave your ideas or story behind in the comments below. It is always good to connect with parents on this matter so we can support each other.
Yeah. So that's it for now, and we hope to see you in our next video. Bye!
Bye-bye!